walking in with their mask.
Where's mine?
And then you take like 10 more steps and you go, oh, yeah, I should have one of those too.
Yeah. And then they shoot you dirty glances, so you have no choice but to go back and get one.
Dick, I just came from Julie Turnan's house. She said to tell you hello.
Ah, I love Julie. What are you doing there? Doing a little yoga?
Yeah, she's one of my best friends and,
Oh, yeah?
my yogi. So,
Nice.
Yeah.
That's right.
You must be Mr. Grisak. Yes.
Yes.
I'm Shauna Gray. We were
Oh, hey,
emailing.
Shauna. I didn't
to
know what
meet
you
you.
looked like.
Yes.
So I'm glad you've talked with Erin, right?
Yes.
Good, good.
And I
Well,
took that assessment last night. That's,
Okay.
That's interesting.
Did you
Oh,
learn
yeah.
anything about yourself?
I'm not very spatially configured. I don't think, looking at the little block things.
What did it say? Your
But I have excellent
So you
vocabulary.
get the results.
yeah. Well, that's important. Great. You know, when you send out an email and the grammar is incorrect, and it's kind of a clearing, people wonder, and I ought to make that one of our deals when we talk to agents, write an email to me about a home and see how it sounds, but never done that.
That's a good test.
Yeah. Years ago, when I was in commercial, a guy had me do that. He said, write a letter to me, an email, and tell me, how would you sell this home? So I had to, you know, kind of think out of the box. How would I do it?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's been a while since I've done an assessment like that. You don't get, I didn't get results. I mean, I'm sure it goes to y'all.
What's happening? Do they get the results?
I don't get my
on the
own. I
cake?
didn't get my own
No,
results.
they
Sarah gets-
they go to me and I forward them to whoever.
I mean, I
Okay.
know I'm not crazy, so I'm comfortable with it.
You what?
As long as
I
you
said,
know
I
you're
I'm
not crazy.
You
so
know
it's
you're not
fine.
crazy?
Yeah.
You won't fit in well around here.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
you'll
know.
be the exception. We'll have you sit over the side. All righty.
Listings are so low right now.
What's low?
Inventory.
Yeah,
Amazing.
that's part of what I'm going to talk about. Listings are the key. Always have been, always will be.
Hi, Tom.
Hey, Mary
Good to
Kay,
see
how are you?
I'm good.
Haven't seen you in about a year either.
I know.
I look back, I think it's been like 9 months since March 1st that really I was in the office.
You're looking good. How's Rhonda
She's great.
and the pups?
Everybody's great. Jason's fantastic. He's been with an oil company now for over a year.
Now, is he the one that makes the keyboard?
Uh-huh.
I saw that. She was excited about that.
Yeah, isn't that
You
cool?
custom order those yet?
He's got, it's amazing. He's got like 15 of them ordered. They're already pre-sold.
Wow.
That keyboard is an incredible industry I knew nothing about. They can go up to like $3,000 or $4,000 a piece.
Tell me, give me a thumbs up if you can hear me out there in virtual land. Okay, thank you, Carla. Thank you guys that are out there. Okay, so we're gonna try to stay a little punctual and keep rolling here. So every time we have an event now, we're kind of curious as to, you know, who's gonna come in and who's gonna be virtual. Even our presenters. Tom, you were thinking of doing, you know, you have to hold this mic so they can hear you.
Oh, okay.
And the reason why I'm not giving you this one, Tom, is because it was going in and out. So if it doesn't work,
Okay.
I'll be the guy stuck with it not working.
Yeah, just let me
But I'm
know.
gonna stay on the letting people in, please. There you go. We're gonna start. So this is part of our success series, and it's part of our
$50.
part of our we appreciate your donation, and it's part of your marketing week. So we've had, I gotta just ask you guys with the background noise, Marsha, if you just stay with me for a minute here, because it rotates in. So look at, I want to just roll here and jump right into I asked Tom to come in. Thank you, Tom, for doing this. Great to have. We've had a great week. In case we have people who want to come on. Okay. We've had a great week of marketing so far, and it continues tomorrow and it continues Monday. And now I love you coming in number one for marketing for a couple of reasons. It shows so much of our culture because our top agents are teaching. Pam was in earlier this year. People taught. Jason was in this morning. And Tom, last year you were the first guy in the history of this office to go over $1 million in gross commission income earning, just to you, not even to your team. Your team was up as around 2.5 million. And so just amazing numbers of the quality. And then for you to come here and to tell us what's working for you, I really appreciate that. I think it says a lot about, what we do around.
Happy to do it.
Yeah. And you've been the number one agent in Lovejoy for 19 straight years now.
This will be 20.
This will be.
I think I'm going to get it again this year.
You go. Have you met Christine?
Yeah, but I only look at that about once every 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
The market share.
Yeah. So it's important too. So Tom, we have a lot of people, and you can see the screen up there.
Yeah.
We have a lot of people on. Not everybody shows their face. We're recording this so we can use it later also. We have, for those that can't see, we have about 10 people in the room here too. So good thing. And I don't really want to talk too much. I want to let you tell me.
Okay.
I just want you to share some knowledge and in somewhere get to how you're the number one guy year after year in a particular area.
Okay. Let me start off. There's so many, I could spend 50 of these things talking about what we do and what I feel is important, and we don't have time for that. So instead of putting this at the end, I want to put this at the beginning, suggestions for new agents. And last night I was thinking about, okay, what's really important to get to a high level? To me, what I feel like I had to do. So, and if anybody wants this, I'll send this out to you. Obviously, be disciplined with your time. Everybody knows that. You're in the right place at the right time, the right area, the right company, the right tools. So you're really unlimited what you can do here. We're very fortunate to be in Texas and especially Collin County. So never forget that, even when things may start slowing down a little bit, you couldn't be in a better place. Don't try to recreate the wheel. You've got all these tools here. I had to do that, and I'll share my story how that happened, but use what's here and take advantage of it. Be astute on Facebook, social media. That's free stuff, and we're very tied in with Facebook. We're always running something out to the Park Cities or areas that I think I can pull people maybe into the Lovejoy area. You have to be committed to something like that. A post every 2 weeks isn't going to do much for you. 2 important things I learned early in the business. Don't be afraid to promote yourself, and because no one's going to do it for you. A very smart guy told me that when I asked him, is this bragging? He said, look, no one's going to do it for you. And if you can do it, talk about it. Also, importantly, specialize in an area. And I did that in commercial, did very well, and I have done that in residential too. I'll talk about that a little bit more. Keep the blinders on, stay focused, don't listen to negativity around you. Good agents are going to make money, whether it's a great market or if it's a slow market. You just have to shift ride a different horse.
What do you mean by keep the blinders on?
Don't listen to people talking about it's a bad market, no one's buying, no one's selling. People are always buying and selling. So you might have to shift from maybe working higher price listings to maybe lower your levels and start working the $200,000 to $300,000 homes, but they're always buyers, they're always investors. And that's what I was going to talk about in a little bit too. Separate yourself from the pack, be the expert in your area of specialty, especially visit the new listings when they hit the market, be cognizant of what those listings are selling for. You have to be an expert in your area for people to trust you. And to do that, it's a full-time job. I spent years tracking this market, and that's hopefully why people can trust me when I give them advice. I always like to say you always have to have a little guy sitting on your shoulder when you make a, is that too loud? When you make a good deal, celebrate for maybe a day, then it's back to the grindstone. I've got a great story about that. You're only as good as your last deal. That's a expression from a commercial. Be professional. If you want to swing at the big ones, you've got to dress like it. I've been on seeing agents walking out that aren't on our company that have walked out of listing presentations. I thought to myself, they're trying to get $1.5 million listing dressed like that. I think I can beat that. So be cognizant of that. Never down talk your competition. Just focus on what you do. That's a huge turnoff when you talk. Even if you think you're the best, you know you're the best, don't get into what they do. Just talk about what you do. Be selecting of listings that you take. They're a reflection of you and your company. We turn down listings every single year, and not just $200,000 and $300,000 homes. We've turned down $1 million listings if we feel like that pride of ownership isn't there. That when something goes on our site, that's a reflection of us. When our sign is in the front yard, that's a reflection of us. So it's just as important what you turn down as what you take, in my opinion.
Tom, talk about that for a second, because this is what you said is hints for new agents.
Right.
So, man, you're a new agent and you have a listing. It could be tough to turn that.
Yeah, that's right. And there's a chance you could burn bridges too by doing that. It's like a woman scorned. When you have to tell someone that you can't take their listing, I try to do it as professionally as I possibly can. What a good way to approach that is, I think we'd be asking you to put too much into this home for that you would want to do. There are other agents that are better suited to handle this. That's the best way to do it. But it is important every time you have a sign in front of a property, that's you. That's not just your company. That's you with your name on it. And again, we go through any of these you want, but I just want to do it first because at the end, you may not remember all these things. You have to spend money to make money. Marketing is very important. We spend a lot of money every year, and our agents spend money too that are on our team. Don't take it personally when you don't get a listing. We've all been burned. We thought we had a listing and it went to somebody else. It's just part of the business. You can't take it personally. Be careful with politics on posts. We never talk politics on anything that we do. You can lose half your clients by coming out and making just an innocuous statement. Keep clients updated weekly by phone. That's one of the things we're big on. And you also need to be updating your clients every week with a newsletter. We do that every 7 to 10 days. And we actually just got on a very good lead today from a newsletter that I just put out. Telling people what happens. And this will go back, when I go back into this in more detail, I'll explain that. Let's see, it's almost there. Stay positive on posts. Find out how people are finding you. Whenever we go on a listing appointment, I'll always ask, well, how did you find us? And that's where we want to spend our money. And then listings are the key, always have been, commercial and residential, and they always will be the key. Dress for success. And then finally, start working on an exit plan. If you don't have an exit plan, 10 years, 15 years in the business, by then you should have a way of getting yourself out of the business when you're tired of it. Okay, so that's a lot of ground to cover, and you can see right there, there's a lot, and you can't even talk about all that, but those are my secrets of success right there, what I've done.
Well, that was great stuff, and that you think of, there's so many things we could go in there and just dissect
Right.
and talk about, and a lot of consistency. So, am I on there? Can you guys hear me out there? No, you can't hear me. Can you hear me now? All right, so Tom, I'm just gonna let you do your thing.
Okay, just a little about me, and this is not about me, it's about you guys, but just so you know where I came from and how I had to do this. I was a commercial broker for about 15 years, and I did well as a commercial broker, but I hated it. It was totally different than residential. It just wasn't my style. Glass, concrete, working downtown Dallas or working areas, fighting traffic. It was not my style. I'm not a great networker with people, I can tell you that. I don't There are other people on our team that are like Heather and Erin. They're fantastic networkers. I'm the worst. So I have to let our website do our networking. So I got out in commercial. Luckily, I'd had a couple of good years, and I had enough money saved up to take off a year and moved out to Lucas. Didn't know anything about Lucas at the time. I just knew it wasn't too far out. And Lucas kind of grew around me. So I was lucky that I was in the right place and an area came to me. When I came out here, I won't tell, 6 miles through the snow, any of those stories, but believe me, there was nothing in Lucas. And Allen, there was hardly anything in Allen. There was a Chevron station at 75 and McDermott, and that was about it. And so for years, people never knew where Fairview and Lucas were. So I was fortunate that I got into an area, and I decided in commercial, I did well by really concentrating in one area. And that was one of the first lessons I learned when I joined the first broker I was with. He said, go talk to this gentleman, ask him what's the secret. And the guy said, I'll tell you what the secret is. He said, you get in an area, you know it better than anybody, and people always come to you as the expert. And you don't have to seek them out, they'll seek you out. So I took that to heart. And back then the technology was so, you can't believe how primitive it was, 25, 30, that was 35 years ago. There was no such thing as, the internet was just in its infancy. No one used it. So I had a big board that I used, and I had to get breakfast groups together to get comparables. So I would put every Thursday, we'd have like 15 guys in, we'd share our comparables, and I'd put little stickies on them, to show people where they were. And that's what I took around with me. And then every year I'd get another plastic overlay. So within about 5 or 6 years, this thing was covered with dots. Well, just walking in with that is really so impressive to people because they think this guy knows what he's doing. And I did, but I had to fight for those comps. In residential, it's like, honestly, it was like taking candy from a baby. You guys have it so great because there is no sharing in commercial. In residential, you have to share. And I love that about residential. First year in, you can compete with anybody with the information. So you say, well, how did you make it? I've got a degree, a master's of education. What other career can you get in with an MED and you're making the kind of money that I'm making? And I did it because I had no choice. And I was too stubborn to join another company to learn how it's supposed to be done. I just did it myself. I thought to myself, back then it was a flyer in a sign box in the front yard and open houses. And I thought, first of all, I can do better than that flyer because they were usually Xerox copies. The boxes were always empty. So I just started thinking, if I were selling a home, this is what I want to see on my home. And I couldn't really believe that people were putting up with the marketing that I had seen. So from that point on, I kind of did things my way. And I've tried things that worked, tried things that didn't work. So I just had to kind of learn from the ground up. I knew no commercial agents. Residential agents. I had no one to ask questions of. I didn't know how to get on the MLS, didn't know where the contracts were. The one advantage I had is I knew how to negotiate and I knew how to read a contract. And I got that through commercial. But I started just literally from nothing. Nothing. My first deal was $2,500 and it was like a $130,000 home. I had to cut my fees to get the deal. And I still laugh about this. I still talk about it. Brought the check home. I was so pleased. I made my first deal because I showed I can do it. I know I can do it now. And I showed the check to Rhonda. She said, Tom, we can't live on this. So, already I was deflated, but she was right and I knew it. But to me, it wasn't the amount. To this day, believe it or not, it's not the money. It's that satisfaction of going out, competing for a listing with a buyer or a seller, getting the listing, closing it, helping those people. To me, that's what drives me. It's not, you'll get to a point in your career that honestly, you'll forget to put checks in the bank. And then you'll realize 10 days later, oh, I never put that check in. You may not be thinking that now, but you can get to that point where you're just churning, so busy that you forget little things like that. So I was in this Lucas area. First of all, any questions so far? I'm going quick. Any questions? Okay. So there wasn't anything magic about me ending up in Lucas and Fairview. And as I said, it was very good luck because it turned out to be a great, phenomenal school district. And for years, there was no retail out there. And I heard, we love living out there, but it's in the country. There's nothing there. Where do we do our shopping? Where do we do our dry cleaning? Where do we go have dinner? So I fought that for many years. Then when all that retail came in at 75 and Stacy Road, it's like everything opened up. Then people started saying, is all this traffic going to hurt me? What's that going to do to my values? And I have to say, guys, no, that's the best thing that's ever happened. It has. These values have just skyrocketed. So how do you get?
Can
Yeah.
you tell?
Yeah.
You have to repeat because they can't hear.
Yeah.
Give me that for a second.
Yeah.
When you talk about when you said I have to say guys or I have to get this word out that Stacy's not going to hear stuff like that. I mean, you're not walking outside and yelling it. So how are you getting that out there?
Okay. I'm a big believer in postcards. And again, I'm going to get to that.
Yeah.
I just did a real quick deal at first, just so you guys would think about that first as I'm talking. My first deal that I closed, I picked an area that, first of all, I wanted to work around where I lived. So I naturally picked that area. And I sent that postcard to everybody in that area. And back then, I don't even know why I didn't look at Colin Cad, but I drove every single street. And for years, I drove every street. And that's how I found about FSBOs. That's how I found about who my competition was coming in. I think, never seen them before. Where are they from? So I do a little digging. You have to be a student of your area and you have to study it. And when you see something happening, you have to let people know about it. So when we sold a home, every deal I made for years, we put aside enough for a postcard. And back then it was only maybe, I don't know, $300 or $400 because there weren't that many homes in that area. But I'd set that aside, just started going out. And it didn't happen once a month because it took me a while to get started, like it will the new agents here. But after a while, they're either going to get tired of it and not consider you, or they're going to think this guy's here to stay. And a lot of people, they'll stick it up on their refrigerator. And I've walked into homes before. This is tough for me, a good lesson to learn. I offered a discount. I'll sell your home for X amount %. And I walked into a home one time 2 years down the road after I sent that out, and they said, are you still standing behind that? And by then, I didn't have to offer that discount, but they had it, so I honored it. But now when I offer discounts, I will put a time limit on it. So postcards are a very important part of my business. We tried everything. I've tried buying leads. To me, I'm not trying to tell you how to do your business, but to me, buying leads is a waste of time. I've done it through Zillow. I've done it through Smart. What's it called? Smart, huh? I can't remember what it's called, but I've tried 3 or 4 of them. And all I did was get really leads that I probably wouldn't have worked in the first place. I know Heather had an experience they were buying leads with Zillow, and she was running around town chasing these little deals because that was expected of her. The broker bought the leads. She had to go work them, and she was running the wheels off her car. Whereas if she spent that time in this area where she works now, she would have made more money. She would have learned it a lot better than she knew it back then. And it's a much more useful use of her time. So for me, buying listening leads are out. So, and to this day, it may sound old school, but postcards are still very important and very effective. If nothing more than they look at it and they throw it in the trash can. You're not going to get immediate results. You may get lucky and someone said, I got your postcard. It does happen sometimes. But even now, I don't expect to get a lead from a postcard right away. But sometime down the road, it may be the 3rd or 4th postcard. Now they're ready to buy or sell, and that's when I get the call from them. So you're spending money that you don't know if it's working, but it will work for you. Make sure your postcards are professional. They're well thought out. I don't believe in postcards like recipes. things that I see some agents do. I don't see as much now as I used to, but give people something of value on those postcards. Let them see what you sold. Make sure you put the listed price on there, never the sale price, obviously. Make sure that if you want to be professional, you want to get to that high-end market, everything that comes out of you should be high-end and professional. Spend the money to do it right. If you can't do it, pay someone to do it. Any questions yet? Okay. All right. Let's see. I've always focused, as I said, I've always focused on Fairview, Lucas, Parker, and Lovejoy ISD. I do sell homes. We have sold homes as far away as Possum Kingdom. I think, Erin, you sold one in Tyler, outside of Tyler, but those are just exceptional deals. That may be a deal where we have a very good client who asks us to do it, and we'll do it for them. But normally, I would not take a listing that far out. A couple of reasons. Those are time eaters, the time to get there. It's not a good use of your time. Spend your time in your area. Another thing is, let's say you do a good job, you sell that home, you get another call from someone that wants you to sell a home in there. And all of a sudden, you're shifting away from, your focus has been lost on the area you should be concentrating on, and now it's going to a completely different area. So we look at those outside of our area with a lot of caution. And obviously, if it's a relationship we're trying to build, it's an area you're trying to build, we'll take it. But if it's not going to do that for us, we just won't. We'll just have to respectfully, decline it. Declining is tough, as I said. You don't want to burn bridges, but there will be times, no matter how hard you try, people will be offended. They're going to think, you think you're too good to list my home. It's not that. I don't care where the home is priced, that pride of ownership has to be there. And I know it when I first walk in the door. In fact, I know it before I walk in the door. When I walk up that sidewalk to their home, I can tell you what that home is going to look like inside. So if I have to turn a listing down, I do it the best I can. And, I know there have been times where I've probably been attacked for not taking a listing, or even cutting a person away from a listing. If I can't make them happy, we try very, very hard at what we do. Very, very hard. But there are some sellers that you're just not going to be able to make happy. Life's too short. We'll terminate our listing with them, part as friends, and we won't ask them to pay us our expenses back. We do it the right way. But some sellers, if you've been in the business for a while, you can't make everybody happy. All we can do is our best. Database was critical. When I started, there was no such thing as Command. There really wasn't. I guess ACT was one of the only databases that was out there at the time, and it didn't do what I needed it to do. So I had to learn how to build my own database. I did it through Microsoft Access, which is very complex database. And maybe if I'd known how complex it was, I wouldn't have done it. But I've got probably, I don't know, 20 years, 25 years, and probably at least $10,000 invested in it. So it does things that Command doesn't do. Command does a lot of things that the database doesn't, mine doesn't do. But you have to have a database. No database, you'll never make it in this business. I promise you. Use Command.
Hello.
I haven't been into it as much as I should be, but Erin is staying on top of that. Now they've got the team version of Command. So that's going to help us a lot. So I'm looking forward to seeing more about that. Another thing that I did that you can do, and if you've got the time and the inclination, build your own website. Of all the things we've done, that has been the biggest differentiator between our company, our team, and everybody else out there. We control it. We're on it 4 to 5 times a day, making changes, new listings, sales, coming soon, articles, interesting things are happening in the area. Not fluff. Again, you're giving something of value to people. And it's not, believe it or not, it's not hard to build a website. Wix is a real good company to do a website through. It's really pretty simple. And as you get more comfortable with it, you can make it better and better and better. But I didn't want to I couldn't rely on any other company because I wasn't with another company. I had to do it myself. But I learned how to do it, and then I taught all of our admins who were with me how to do it. So we don't have to call someone up and say, we need to add a new listing, we need to lower the price, I don't like the pictures, we're going to change the pictures out. We can do that instantaneously. Our website generates more traffic, more business for us than anything we do by far, even postcards. We have it set up when we do a presentation, we can take our laptop in, open it up, and you can see just the homes, these beautiful homes that we've sold scrolling across the screen. So there's that credibility building of these guys know what they're doing. If it's $1.5 million home, a $2 million home, they're confident, they feel comfortable. If it's a $300,000 home, they're confident, they feel comfortable. If those guys can sell those homes, they can sell my home. That's a really big deal. Another thing that we do that you can do, it's not hard at all. Go to Google Maps and plot all of your sales on a map. So on ours, you'll see on our homepage, we've got, oh gosh, I don't know how many sales we've got, but it's just blanketed with all these little dots. And you can click on every one and see where that home sold or what the address was. No pictures, no prices, but there's that instant credibility. For instance, Tranquility, when we go for a listing appointment, Tranquility, that little display is sitting on our screen. So let me show you what we sold in Tranquility. So we expand the screen out, and then there's like 15 homes in a subdivision with maybe, I don't know how many homes are in there, maybe 30. We may have sold half the homes in there, some of them twice. So you're building, you've got a short amount of time to sell yourself on a presentation. And the risk is you try to do too much at once, but I'll take that risk over walking away and they don't know how, excuse me, how good we are and how passionate we are about what we do. So, our listings, depending on the clients, it can take 20 minutes. Sometimes we could take an hour and a half. It just depends on the client. But the good thing, I'm at a point now where when I go in and I start to talk about, I say, I'll always ask, first of all, how did you find us? Then I'll say, have you seen our website? 9 times out of 10, if they're in this area, say, yeah, we know all about you. Well, that's good and it's bad because there are a lot of people now that are moving in that don't know about us. So when I don't take my laptop in, I've got to say it off the top of my head. So we're actually working with the agents now that they go in and they can have these presentations down. You have to be you got to be technologically advanced in what you do, or you've got to pay someone to do it for you. But that's a big part of we work with high-end clients, a lot of business executives, doctors, attorneys. Those guys, they demand a certain level of expertise, and we can't go in there with, hi, I'm Tom Grisak, how do you like me so far? That doesn't work at that level. So all the postcards we do, magazines, honestly, I can't tell you how much traction we get out of magazines. We've had one for 3 or 4 years, Fairview Living, and then I guess Lucas Estate Living. Sometimes I'll walk in, and at times I've walked in and I've seen the magazine open to our ads, so I know that worked. At other times, I just wonder if they're even going to people are so busy now, do they even open up magazines anymore? So we're going to really give that a lot of thought if we're doing any more magazine advertising. And if we don't, we're going to spend that money in other areas. Pop buys, never done a pop buy in my life. I didn't even know what a pop buy was. When I joined KW, they started talking pop buy. I know, what the hell is a pop buy? Well, now I know, and most of the agents do it, and it's a fantastic idea. I just didn't know about it. I was under the assumption you do a great job for somebody when you sell them or help them buy, they'll call you when they're don't go by that. That's not how it works. You have to stay in touch with your clients and just let them know you're thinking about them. Maybe at Thanksgiving, Christmas, Halloween. Doesn't cost much to do, but that's very important to the business. I wish I'd been doing it all these years. I'm terrible at staying in constant contact with our sellers. I do some things very well. I do some things poorly. And one of the worst things I do is staying in touch with our clients. But Erin's helped me with that. And she's actually doing a lot of that for me along with our team. It's not that I don't want to talk to them. I just don't have that time committed. And I honestly, probably deep down, I don't want to bug them. You know, if I have something that I think they're interested in, I love to talk to them, but I'm always been a little concerned. Well, you know, I don't have time to chit chat because I'm working with these, again, high level stuff. And when they call you back, I just, you know, if you say, I just want to see how you're doing, that's a great thing to do. I've just never been comfortable at it. You want to say something, jump on me for that? Okay.
My mic's not on, so you're lucky.
Yes, go ahead. Do I what?
Repeat the question.
Yeah, the question is, do we, people check us out on Facebook? Again, I've never made a deal off of Facebook, but I can guarantee you people are checking us on Facebook. And I have a personal page. I very, very rarely put anything business-wise on personal. And I have a business page, and I don't put, every once in a while, I'll put something, you know, like don't forget to vote on our business page. But usually I keep those separate. And I just assume, again, I never talk politics. Sometimes I shudder when I see people putting stuff out there thinking you've just alienated half of your client base. You don't even realize it. I don't do that. Always positive. If I put something on our personal about business, it may be just an incredible home that we just listed. Like no one, you know, maybe we've never seen a home like that. And I'll always say, you know, this is something that I just thought you might be interested just to see what's out there right now. But I keep them separate. Any other questions right now on that? Okay. Talked about being selective on listings, talked about pop buys. I've made many mistakes I've been doing this for 35 years now between commercial and residential. I've wasted lots of marketing dollars trying things that just didn't work. I'm at the point where someone's always trying to sell me something, and I know that's their job, and we're trying to do the same thing with them, so I treat them with respect. But just the other day, we got something. Someone said, you know, your signs aren't indicative of what you do. You guys are kind of the go-to team for luxury in this area, but your signs don't indicate it. Well, I hope what she was talking about is our sliders kept falling off our signs, so we put them on with a zip tie. And I thought, well, if we cut them close enough, people can't see those zip ties, but apparently they can. Well, if they're seeing that, then our clients may be seeing it too. Ratty signs, Erin said she saw a ratty sign the other day, and we're going to take that sign up and replace it. Birds have they love to sit on our signs and do their thing. So we have to be careful with that. It's the little things that people expect of you when you get to that higher end that maybe you can get away with on the $200,000 or $300,000 homes. I'll say this too, it's easier. People don't believe me when I say this, but the people on our team will tell you it's easier to sell a $1.5 million home 9 times out of 10 than it is a $200,000 home. If you've got a $200,000 home and there's a $1,000 repair, $2,000 repair, they may not be able to afford that, especially if it gets up like $5,000. On $1.5 million home, they're not even going to make an issue of it. They're not going to say, I need to go get three quotes. They're just going to say, do it. Who do you suggest? And then we'll provide 3 people that they can choose from, not that we choose for them. And it's when you're not dealing with the bottom line that you often see on the lower priced homes, it's much easier to sell on those $1 million plus homes. But again, they demand more. Our marketing is much more expensive. I was surprised, Erin, we're doing a kind of a cost evaluation on what we're spending on listings, and I thought it'd be around, I allocate $600 per listing. And if it goes over that, then the agents have to pay for that. But that covers the detailed description. It covers the professional photography and the staging. We'll always do those for our clients, and that's $550, something like that. I also, drones, I think, are very important, especially if you're working properties on acreage. I go learn how to fly a drone like I did. I've been doing them for 4 or 5 years now. So instead of me having to pay someone $150 to go out and fly a property, I can do it in 4 minutes. Literally, I can set up my drone, fly it, and it's done. Those are the things that I can take on myself, and I don't have to pay someone to do. So that helps us keep our costs down. Matterpoint, we will do Matterpoint on some listings. Yeah, pardon me? Matterport, what did I say, Matterpoint? Yeah, Matterpoint, beautiful. They've come a long way. It used to be, you get dizzy trying to look all around, but they've got the technology down now that it is really high quality. The risk with Matterport is you're showing someone the interior of a house. You're showing them where all the doors are, and that can be a concern. So if our clients want it and we can justify it on the price of the home, we'll do Matterport also. So you start adding all that up, and we're easily at $1,000 on the $1 million plus listings. But we work all our listings the same as far as the level of care that we give. We don't ever want someone to think because they're selling a $150,000 home that they don't get the same level of care we do a $2 million home. There's no distinction at all. And all of our team members know how important that is. So we're very proud of that. Let's see, other mistakes I've made. Overpricing to satisfy sellers. We all have that tendency to make our sellers happy. What we do out in Fairview and Lucas is very different than what happens here in Allen. In Allen, you can have a home that you're pricing. It's on a block with, there have been 7 other sales in the past 6 months. Where we are, there could be no sales in the past 2 years that are even close to that home and the level of finish out, the type of lot that it is, the pool. We have to, and I tell them when I walk right in, I said, probably 80% of the time, I'll tell them I will not find an exact price for your home. I can't tell you where a home will sell. I can give you a range where I think it will sell. And I'll always also tell them, if you talk to 5 different agents, 5 different appraisers, you don't give them any type of indication, they'll give you 10 different opinions of where this home will sell. And the bottom line is none of us will know unless we get it out there. We very, very rarely do we underprice a home. If it's anything, it's going to be we've overpriced a home. And that's because we have so little data to work with. It's a very small very niche, very small market. So do we take overpriced listings? Yeah, we will. And if we know that the seller is serious about selling and they don't tell us we have to have this or we're not going to sell, if we don't think we can get there, we'll let another agent have it. It's a lot of money. It's not even just money. It's our time and our energy that goes into that listing. But if we feel like they're reasonable, they really do want to sell, they need to be shown. We need to prove it to them that we're going to be closer to where we think the home will sell than where they think it'll sell. But I'd love to be able to walk in sometime and show, like here in Allen, okay, here 5 sales took place and I'm giving $10,000 for an extra garage here, $10,000 for a bedroom. It just doesn't work out in our area. The variables are way too strong. Wooded lots are huge versus flat barren lots, just a totally different market. Let me see, and that's being stubborn, try to salvage deals. We've all done that. You put so much work into a deal, you think I can't walk away from it. I've lost all this time. There's a point where you walk away from it and you don't look back. You're not going to make the sale, but your life will be much better. And you're not going to be, those are energy vampires. If you have a listing and you hear it again and again and again, the home is overpriced, that's going to, you know, we can only hear that so many times. And if the seller's not listening and they're not willing to lower the price, that's time to step away, especially if they say, well, you need to start spending more money. You've got to spend money on magazines. You've got to do whatever. That's a trap. Don't fall into that trap. We market all of our homes the exact same way. And if the home sells, then we feel like, you know, we've done a great job. And if it doesn't sell, it's not because it hasn't been professionally marketed and hadn't been seen. So that was it. That's really the.
Hey, Tom, can you guys hear me out there? Give me a thumbs up if this mic's working. All right, good. So let's go back to marketing a little bit in Fairview, Lucas, okay, specifically. So what did you do other than, like, you're not the type that's going to be out, you know, kissing babies and shaking hands and
Right.
around, but so how do you get involved in the community?
Okay,
Because,
I'll tell you what I did.
right,
Good
you
question.
can't do it without getting involved with the
Right.
community, right? Because I know you're great at bringing information.
Right.
Other
I'm
than
data
that,
driven. You're
yeah.
exact. And I forgot to talk about that. One of the things I did is I started attending the city council and planning and zoning meetings, and you'd be amazed how much you can pick up in information from that. And again, then I would share that with the people in the newsletter, and people love to hear about something that they don't know about. Did you know there's another development coming in? It's just been approved for 2-acre lots, or they're trying to get 1-acre lots, and the townspeople are fighting it. That's huge. People want to know what's happening all around them. And I still have relationships to this day about people that I've met at the city council and Fairview, for both Fairview and Lucas, builders, especially developers. And we've done many deals in the past. So that's all free stuff. That's an hour and a half on a Thursday night to you all, but look what you've got. You've got that information that you can send out to all the people, and now you're the expert. They're going to be looking to you when they're ready to do something. So that's free. Let me see what else.
And Tom, when you say newsletter, that could mean as simple as you type out an email and send it to your sphere of influence.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
It's not a physical.
No. I don't like, I know KW offers some opportunities in doing this they're kind of a template, and they all kind of look the same. There may be what the market's doing. It may be broad-based, and I'm less concerned with broad-based than I am what's happening in my particular area. And I think the people that I work with are too. So my newsletters, they're comprised of, in fact, if you want, I can put a link to one of our newsletters so you can see. They go out every 7 to 10 days, and they'll have the homes that we've sold. They'll have our new listings. They'll have coming soon. Then they'll have just a quick rundown for me, what's happening in the market, 3 or 4 paragraphs. This is what I'm seeing. We're in early November. Right now, we should start to see a slowdown, but we're not seeing it. You know, I normally at this time of year, I tell sellers to be prepared. November 15th through January 15th, it'll start to slow down, but I'm seeing none of that this year. It may change. And so it's always positive, always, you know, good information, and it's truthful information. Now, the private email that I send out to my clients, that could be totally different. And that could be, okay, you've got till the market's going to start slowing down when it gets colder. And if you don't want to sit on the home until spring, you probably ought to be thinking about lowering your price right now. So I don't share that information, obviously, with the public. But the newsletter is, I have links. Again, I've got our own website, so I can provide links to any article that I put on our site, and I've got a link to any one of these homes. Then I do interesting stories that happen. We just sold this home. Heather just maybe sold a home that one of the toughest deals we've ever done. And I'll talk about how difficult a deal that was. So I'm not only promoting that we had a sale, I'm promoting our agents too, which is a big deal. This isn't just about promoting me. It's about promoting all of our team members. So I try to get 2 or 3 things accomplished with everything that I do. I don't like having to cover the same ground twice in anything that I do, and I like to get 2 or 3 things accomplished of everything. Newsletters, to me, we just had I think I said this earlier, we just made a great relationship with a very high-end builder that I hadn't talked to in a couple of years. and he talked to me today. He said he gets my newsletter. And I said, how were you on my list? Because he doesn't build in this area. He said, we met 2 years ago, and I put him on our email list 2 years ago. So he said, I always enjoy reading your newsletters, good information. And then he wants to talk to us about, we've got another thing that we're going to be doing with him. So those things are always out working for you.
And Tom,
Yes.
what about this Rhonda, your wife? I'm up here in Zoom land.
What about what?
What
You
about
bring some milk home on the way home from the, no. What is it,
Yeah.
Rhonda?
What about, like, you didn't talk about, your podcast and keeping people updated
Yes.
in the community?
Right. One thing that I have started doing, and I'm kind of mixed on it right now, mainly because I look so bad when people see me, but podcasts are one way to not have to do video, and you can just do verbally, and you have it out there. My son is big into podcasts, and that's another generation. My generation, I'm not sure how big into podcasts they are. Videos are important, but I think you have to have a setting where you have to be able to provide something more than, in my opinion, doing a video out of the study in our home. And I'm struggling with that right now on how we could do that. But we're very big on YouTube. We've got 400 or 500 YouTube videos right now. Every one of our listings will end up either on Facebook or YouTube, and I never take those off. So people can go back 4 years and they can find information on a home we sold 4 years ago and look at it.
How do you drive them to your YouTube channel?
It's on our website. On our menu at the top, we have everything that we want people to look at. We have one for listings, and then those listings are broken down. Homes under $500,000, up to $1 million, over $1 million, coming soon, under contract. All that's we have no secrets. I mean, I don't have to worry about, Dick and I have talked about this many times, and he said the same thing. Letting people see what you do is never a concern, because it comes down to whether they're really going to do it. And most people will look at it and think, that's too much work, I'm not going to do it. So I'm very open with everything we do, and I'm willing to help people if they want to do that. But we drive people to areas that we want to see them. So one, we've got listings, then we've got the area that we really concentrate in, Fairview, Lucas, and then Lovejoy ISD. I built a page for Lovejoy. I built a page for Lucas. I built a page for Fairview. So whenever we go on a listing appointment, we'll pull up that page, and I'll tell them, guys, we're not just selling homes, we sell this area. You can't have someone moving down here from Maine, anything's, Fairview's in the middle of the country. They don't know where Fairview is. So I spent a good part of YouTube explaining to people everything about Fairview. I've used the drone to fly all of the commercial in Fairview, and that works for Lucas too. That's a YouTube video there. I'm going to be building one on, some people think you have to be a millionaire to live in Fairview. You don't. Fairview has homes from 300,000 on small, zero lot lines that have just coming out of the ground now. They've got apartments. Then they've got homes that are on acreage that are a pasture land for horses. Then they've got the very high end. Then they've got a $10 million or $12 million home that's out there right now. So I'm going to do a video, and they're all called This is Fairview. And people can see everything about Fairview, so they can make a decision from the Allen Event Center, right across the street from Fairview, Top Golf. You got to sell the area as well as you sell your homes, in my opinion. So
and you're so informational too. Like, I was, my story with Tom was, I was sitting in Boston 18 years ago, looking at different houses, and I stumbled upon his website, and it was like, who is this dude, man? He's just like talking. All your stuff is like you're right. Just talking. And you're saying, and I'd love to have maybe Erin or Heather, if you can, put your websites in the chat box a little bit so some people can see what I mean on that. And it's very unique as your perspective, informational. I want to jump back a little bit too, though. So again, Fairview, Lucas, were you, and there's no right or wrong answer in this, were you involved in, say, the school systems? Were you sponsoring their 4th of July stuff? Were you,
okay?
Like, how did you get engaged in the community?
Too.
Yeah.
everybody's always coming to us to sponsor something, sponsor a team, sponsor. I mean, there are a million things that we can sponsor out there, and we have to be selective on that too. We could spend a fortune sponsoring everything that's out there. So like Heather's got something that we're sponsoring, the Majestics, I guess. We're helping with that. We've done football, we've done soccer, all of those. And we used to have a banner on the football stadium. I can't remember what that cost, but all those things, you know, I don't know. I just don't know. If
You
those,
almost do them out of guilt, some of them.
exactly.
Like you feel like
That's
you
exact-
have to.
It's hard to
support-
turn
yeah,
someone down,
Yeah.
especially if they're a client. You know, if they're a client, they call me up, darn right, I'm gonna sponsor something that they've got. But I was an ambassador. The Lovejoy ISD asked 4 different agents. In fact, Christine was one too, to meet the people that are coming from Toyota and talk to them about Lovejoy and Fairview and Lucas. So I was part of that wave that came in, and didn't make any deals off of it, but it was goodwill for us. And I know the school district appreciated it, and never gotten a deal from the school district either. You know, you might think, they're kicking this guy deals. Never received a deal through Lovejoy ISD. In fact, there was a time when they were talking about it's kind of pay to play. If you'll kick back some of your commission, they'll help you get listings, and that didn't work for us. And that guy's gone. That suggested that. So everything's on the up and up with us. But yeah, as far as Lovejoy and Fairview and Lucas, whenever like the Lucas has a mart, country mart, I can't remember what it's called, once a month, and I'm out there. And one of the things I want to do, it's tough now because everybody's wearing masks, is I want to interview someone. I'll pick someone out and say, you know, I know you live here in Lucas. Would you mind talking about, tell me what you like about Lucas? And then I'll put that on YouTube. Once I've got it on YouTube, then I put the link on our website. I put it on Facebook, put it on YouTube, of course. So I've got a link to our YouTube channel on our site so people can see all about this area. And have I ever had someone buy a home or talk to me about selling their home from YouTube? No, never. But chances are, if they've been on our website, we are directing them to the places we want them to go. And it's good, hard information. It's not fluff. Like, what are, you know, interest rates right now? What's it going to cost you to finance a $600,000 home? That stuff's easy. It's the tough stuff that you have to go out and get. But that's where people respect you as an expert within the area.
Yeah, and you know, it's kind of like Masha smiled, I smiled, in you also. That's right. When we talked about the old days of just driving around the neighborhood and driving around the streets. So kind of with that in common, let's say somebody said, okay, I want to start farming a certain area. I'm going to take a section, could be a block, it could be a subdivision, it could be a town, and I'm going to start, I want to work it. What would you suggest they do? Like, what would be like a 3-step? I know I'm putting you on the spot on that, but
yeah, no, I'm glad you said that, because that was one thing I was going to talk about. If I were a new agent right now getting into the business, one of the first things I do is I would set up my business around where I live, whatever it is. If you don't have to live close in, I might move to Salina and set up business in Salina. Let it come and grow around you. Prosper, we're not there in Prosper yet as far as you know, all the retail coming in. That's going to explode even more when all that retail comes in. Pick an area around your home where you don't have to drive someplace to have an area. When I was in commercial, we had guys spread out all over. They may have to go to Great Southwest, and we were based in Allen. That doesn't work. So pick an area. If you can go out a little bit, start farming that market. I've always felt it takes about 1,000 homes to make a decent living. Now, those 1,000 homes will start growing. There'll be 2,000 homes within, 5 or 6 years, and then 3,000 and 4,000. But if you're established there, you're going to have a real leg up on anybody that tries to get in. Lots of people are trying to move into Lovejoy, lots of agents. It's very competitive every year. We're seeing new people coming in, committing to the area. It's natural. It's competition. keeps us on our toes, makes us better. We're looking what other people are doing. If we see something I like that they're doing, we'll do it ourselves. I have no qualms about, they've copied us for years. I know that. And I have no qualms about copying ideas that they have. It makes us all better as an industry. So that's what I would do. And again, start getting those postcards out.
And it just seems like what you're saying over and over again is bring information, bring valuable
Something of
information,
value.
be a resource
Right.
somehow.
Right.
How about questions in I'm here on the thing. So anybody out in virtual land have any questions out there for Tom in the last couple of minutes or inside the office here? Any questions? Can you type them or unmute yourself? Anything you want to know about?
It's a lot of information, I know, but I got it all what I wanted to. And again, we could talk about some of these topics for half an hour at a time, but I just wanted to lay it all out quickly for you, and then just go through quickly what I've done, how I did it.
Cindy, go ahead. You have a question, Cindy?
Yes. When you're talking about farming an area, I know you said start with 1,000 homes as a good marker, but other than postcards, when you're trying to farm an area, are you door knocking those homes, or what other than the postcards are you doing to farm?
No, never door knocked. That would be great. I love it when our agents do that because you're putting a face with the name. If we do it, I always ask if we get their email address. Again, comes the email. If I get that address, then they're going to be receiving something from us every 7 to 10 days. I had to drive. I've got a pretty good sized area. So every day I was out driving, and if I see someone out in the front yard, I just stop and talk to them. I've never really felt comfortable about knocking on a door, but if you can do that, man, that's great. But if I drive and I see a FSBO, darn right, I'm going to knock on that door. I still do. Anything that I feel like is going to be a way for me to introduce myself to the community in that regard, I will do it.
Yeah, awesome. Who else? Anybody else as we wrap up here with a minute left? Go ahead. Online. Sorry, I'm a little low on my slide. How often do you send out your cards in your farm, to your farm?
It just depends on how far we are within developing within that farm. Obviously, when there's a sale, we're going to send it out. If we have 2 or 3 sales at the same time, we'll combine them. But at least once a month, we're on a very strict campaign, and have been. Every month we have cars going to different areas that either we already have a good grasp on, or areas that we want to go into. There is such thing as, I think, too many postcards. I think if people are getting 3 and 4 postcards a month, even if there's sales on them, that's to me, that's kind of a turnoff. And I would rather have one a month with good information and stack information on that card than just trying to blast people with card after card after card. They're just my own personal
Yeah,
opinion.
and we know at some level the phone call has to be incorporated in with that. The
Right.
personal contact has to come into it. And you were going to have your first ever customer appreciation
Yeah.
this year that got canceled because of COVID.
Yeah, we've never
And
done that before.
What brought that on? Like, what made you finally decide all these years later that it was time to do one of those?
I'm not sure.
It was Dick. He kept pushing us.
That could be. But we're gonna have,
That wasn't the answer we wanted to hear publicly. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, we knew we needed to. We've always done a lot of events and things like that and met the community, but Dick kept saying you really need to have a client one. And so we finally put something that was going to be pretty awesome. And it happened to be the week that COVID hit and they shut everything down. So we'll be having one. It will be a lot of fun, but we're going to
And I think those are
thing.
great to do, but they're expensive. That would have been probably $3,000. So yeah.
Hey, we're kind of at the end, but I do want you to touch on one thing, if you don't mind, because you have something in your office that I love. I look at all the time that talks about what the top people in real estate make.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry, not in real estate,
Right.
in the world, like
Right.
different professions, what doctors make, what this makes it. And we happen to be in an office where like right now, even 10 months in, we have 10 people in our office that are over 100,000 in GCI that aren't even in our top 20, our top 50 agents. And we just have huge numbers going on here.
Yeah, I actually sometimes, Erin kicks me for saying this, I feel guilty at the amount of money that I'm making right now. I've worked hard for it, but I didn't go to school for 10 years in college to get a specialty in some type of medicine. I didn't do a lot of things that people have had to do to get to this level. I worked smart and I worked hard, and you can too. The thing about real estate, there's no limit to what you can make. No one is saying, in a business, you can get to a certain point. They say, well, we got to cut you. We're bringing in a new hotshot 24-year-old and we're paying him a third of what you're making. That's not going to happen. Everything you have is up here, and make sure everything you have up here is also in your database. Because as you get older, you're going to forget. People I can talk to right now, I've talked with them 15 years ago. I can pull it up on our database. I said, yeah. We talked on March 15th. And I remember you were talking of 2003. It'll be right there. And you talked about buying a home out here, whatever happened. And they're impressed with that because they know that I'm staying on top of what's happening out here. So, that's a, I can't stress how important a database is.
And we have a question. Thank you for saying that too. And they're talking about database on here. Database is that, what about a young person? So this person saying in the beginning, you mentioned focus on building a database, thus building credibility for new agents. However, do you think very young age-wise new agents are at a disadvantage?
No, not at all. You might be surprised to know this. The average age of a realtor coming into business is 51, and it's usually a second career. So if you're in the older generation, you're fine. Getting in at 60, no big deal.
What about young? What if you're in your 20s?
I wish I'd started in my 20s. If I knew in my 20s what I know now, gosh, I would. Yes, Erin. Right. Yeah. Erin said, let me repeat what she had said. New agents, Erin believes, and I believe too, I didn't have this luxury when I started out. I was too stubborn or maybe too egotistical I wanted to do it my way. But if I were young and starting out, being in a team is the way to go. And I didn't bring that up because I don't want it to sound self-serving. We've got a fantastic team. But first of all, when you're competing with a team, you're going to get your brains beaten out when you go on listings. If you know you're going up against our team and you're brand new in the business, I hate to tell you, but we're probably going to get that listing if they're going on production, unless they don't like us. Sometimes there's just not that connection. But being with the team, you are going to learn, you're going to have with the right team. Some teams aren't the right team. With the right team, you're going to have accountability. So, you're not kicking back all day and then come into the office and, hey guys, what's going on? And, who wants to go to lunch or any open houses, any free lunches today? That's not going to cut it. You've got to have someone that's looking at you, your production and saying, okay, you've got this potential, but you're not, why aren't you reaching that? You said you were going to have 5 listings within 2 months. You haven't gotten it. So let's find out what happened. And then you start peeling back the layers. And then you've got someone that's telling you, okay, this is why you're not getting those listings. This is what you can do. You have help. I'm a big believer in teams. That a lot of people think you can't make money on a team. It's not correct. Depends on the team. Our agent, Erin, what's our range? Yeah, we're all over 130 on our team. And Heather, you're at what, 3? And Heather's over 300. So
yeah, in the teams, teams aren't for everybody, even new people. There's certainly
Right.
some advantages. And I'll say this too. That's why now you can see a big change that we're going to actually announce a little bit more in the next month is now we're running our productivity coaching like a big team. That's what shift we made. And if you're in on Karen's team, we're running all of our new agents that get into coaching. we're treating them like a team with the accountability, with the this. We're even going to, in the next month, be giving leads to people, part of our productivity coaching on a team. So there's advantages to being on a specific team. There's advantages to being in a market center that, that will give you some of the things a team like camaraderie and stuff like that people want a team. And now even within the market center, we're going to have an option for people to be like on a productivity coaching team. So there's a lot of opportunities.
Let me say this too, real quick. I didn't bring this up, but I'm talking about the reason I joined KW. Being on a team, I told you about some of the things that it does for you. The reason I actually joined KW was not to get deals. I've never gotten a deal through KW, never asked for a deal, never expected to get a deal. I joined KW specifically, not even to increase my business. I'd already been the leader out in my area for 10 years, 12 years at the time. I needed someone to teach me how to build a team. That's something I was terrible at. I've had some great agents come through and they've joined the team, they've left the team, they've done great on their own, but I didn't know how to keep a team. I didn't know how to take care of the accountability. I didn't know any of that. So that's why I joined KW. And I'd flattened out. If you get to a certain point where you can't work any harder and you flatten out on the curve, what you're making, there are no more hours in the day. And Dick happened to catch me on a day that Ron and I we were exhausted. I don't know I can't remember what it was. We were probably around 400 a year back then. But I was just exhausted and I realized I had to have help. And to do that, I had to have a team. So that's why I joined a team. Now, my philosophy is if you're on a team, you better be getting as much from your team leader as he expects of you. So there are a lot of teams out there that it's a one-way street. You have to have that trust that team leader is going to help you build your business. And that team leader has to have that trust that you're not going to sit on your hands and, wait for deals to come in.
Yeah. Well, we're way over as we do it when I get Tom going. It's all great stuff. So appreciate you guys coming. Tomorrow we have another day. Marketing week continues tomorrow. Get the information out. Thank you all. Bye-bye.